For this afternoon and tonight, a significant winter storm, including heavy snow with blowing and freezing snow.
Hello and welcome to the SnowBrains podcast, where it's my job to interview the most interesting people in the snow sports industry and pass their fascinating knowledge on to you, our listeners. I'm your host, Miles Clark. I'm a professional free skier, a mountain guide, an Alaska heli ski guide, a UC Berkeley molecular cell biology graduate, the founder and CEO of SnowBrains, and I first moved to the mountains to ski full-time back in 2001. This season will be my 25th full winter in the Northern Hemisphere. Damn, I'm getting old. My guest today is Denis Lee. Denis is the co-founder of AirFlare, a company built around a simple idea with life-saving potential, turning the smartphone people already carry in their pocket every single day into a powerful search and rescue tool, and a powerful tool to help ski patrols save time and energy. He left the traditional corporate career to pursue his passions in the outdoor, motivated in part by a close call with a friend went missing during a winter trip in Washington State. That experience sparked a desire to rethink how technology could help rescuers locate people faster and more accurately. Working with his co-founder, Lee developed AirFlare into an accessible safety platform that allows adventurers to share their location with friends and family and gives ski patrols and search and rescue teams new tools that work even without cell service. His mission is to make mountain safety easier, more modern, and available to everyone, not just those with specialized equipment. Hello, Denis. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here. How are you today, man?
Doing great, Miles. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
And you said you're in Portland, Oregon. When was the last time you skied?
Oh man, it's been a rough season so far. Haven't been on skis this year. We're still waiting. Got a really big storm that came through in October. I wasn't here, and then all of that got nuked. So yeah, we're waiting fairly patiently for the storms to hit for us.
There's nothing in Utah right now. I'm looking out the window. It's hot. I had to open the window. It's so warm.
We've gotten a ton of precipitation. I mean, it hasn't stopped raining.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is like Portland from the old days. Just no snow. It's not cold enough. Yep.
How many days did you get last winter?
Oh man. Yeah, quite a lot. I definitely split my time. I'm a climber, avid climber. I do spend quite a lot of time on skis for work and recreationally, but generally if I'm on skis recreationally, I'm skiing down something I don't want to walk down.
I like that. So you walked up there. Nice, Denis. Well, I'm excited today to dive into your company, AirFlare, how it all works, because it's kind of exciting technology. And I'd love to hear your quick and dirty life story if you have a minute. And if you don't mind, we'll kick it off that way. If you could tell us our life story, our listeners love to hear this stuff.
Yeah, life story. Well, I grew up in Southern California, really super fortunate. The immediate area I grew up in, it's kind of right in between Malibu and Santa Monica, about 2.5 miles off the coast, up an undeveloped canyon, emptied into a really tiny little community in a box canyon, surrounded on all four sides by the Santa Monica Mountains. 2.5 miles down the coast was one of the most well-known surf spot in California. So,
Ooh, which one?
Sunset.
Sunset,
Yeah,
okay.
Yep, Sunset. Zuma was right up the coast. Yeah, just that whole expanse of Santa Monica surf line. Pretty phenomenal. I grew up before cell phones, before computers. My friends and I, we were outside constantly, really just exploring and being kids up in the mountains in the Pacific Ocean. My parents were pretty involved in the outdoors. Family trips for us involved backpacking and time in the Sierras, a lot of visits to national parks, and I grew up cross-country skiing. My parents weren't super into lift-served ski areas, spent a lot of time on cross-country skis in and around the Sierras when I was growing up. Moved up to San Luis Obispo when I was 18, Central California. Had a really strong science background, deeply passionate about science. Had a physics instructor who was really super influential in high school, passionate about biosystems, ecosystems, all of the interconnectedness of all of the species that make up our ecosystem. And I carried that passion for science up into San Luis Obispo and really for the next next couple of decades, deeply passionate about climate science and soil science and water science and what have you. Pre-vet, I was a pre-veterinary medicine in college.
Oh.
I wound up not going to college the first semester. I went to horseshoeing school. I wanted to specialize in feet and legs, and I needed to make money. Shoeing horses in San Luis Obispo turned out to be a really great way of making money and putting myself through school. Worked for a lot of farmers and ranchers who had welding gigs. I was a self-taught welder, went back for my structural steel certification. Whoa. Had a welding business and a horseshoeing business. I leased 80 acres there in San Luis Obispo and ran a boarding stables. It was really a pretty idyllic 20s. Outside.
Well, you're a full-on horse person.
Outside constantly. I rodeoed a lot. That was my main sport through college. Again, just outdoors and not in an indoor environment at all. I taught for Cuesta Community College, taught welding. People who wanted to be welders professionally. I wound up with a gig at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I taught in the industrial manufacturing engineering program that was teaching welding technology to engineers, future engineers. So pretty diverse background. And then I took a pretty hard left turn, wound up going back to school in my late 20s in the business program, came out with 2 masters in business and launched into a career of management consulting.
2?
Yeah. I'm pretty education oriented. It was, I had these gigs that paid education habit. So came out into the corporate world, really phenomenal opportunities. Got to work as a management consultant in a lot of large organizations like Amgen, big biotech company in Southern California. Moved up to Portland, Oregon, worked quite a while for Nike, worked for the Department of Energy, worked for Providence Health, the largest health providers in North America. Would never give back the opportunity. Those 12 years in the corporate environment, I learned a ton and really very blessed with the opportunities that I had. After 12 years, though, I guess suffice to say, it validated a pretty long-held belief that structuring society around a singular pursuit of profit maximization is kind of weird and has some pretty big implications for all of us here on planet Earth, and decided that I was getting pretty antsy and looking to reinvent myself again into an area that I could better provide value and really feel good about what I was engaged in. So I think through that time, I think this was probably just my way of staying connected to the outdoors, developed a very, very strong passion for climbing in the alpine environment, mostly living down in Southern California with the access to the Sierras, moving up to the Pacific Northwest with access to all of the Pac Northwest volcanoes and the Cascades. Started pursuing guiding certifications in the alpine and rock disciplines, and that is still a job that I do today, part-time. Probably one of the absolute most rewarding things that I have done for a living, for a profession, is getting to take people into these outdoor environments that I love. AirFlare, the way that AirFlare started was really out of that community. There was a local climber a number of years ago, Adam Osborne, who went off on a solo winter climb up in the encampments in Washington and didn't come back. It was in November. Adam was deeply entrenched in the climbing community here. In August, the community came together and we put together a recovery effort for Adam, trying to figure out what happened and where he was. And there was a guy that showed up. He wasn't connected. He didn't live in Portland. He wasn't connected to the climbing community. He wasn't a climber himself. He wanted to volunteer his time flying a drone and for this recovery effort, and that was Elliot. He's the founder of AirFlare. He really was interested in search and rescue technology, very well aware that satellite emergency notification devices, personal locator beacons. Adam had a personal locator beacon in his backpack, actually, and unfortunately took a stumble up near the summit of Kolchak and for obvious reasons wasn't able to hit that distress button. So Elliot recognized that the vast majority of people adventuring out in the outdoors had these really super powerful computers in their pocket. And the entire idea was really trying to leverage the features and functionality that people already had with them to make it easier for search and rescue teams to locate people in need of assistance. And that was the entire idea. Both Elliot and I were kind of antsy in our corporate roles and wanting to really, really do something different and do something super meaningful. And we launched into this AirFlare project.
So tell me, what is AirFlare? Explain it in simple terms, and how does it work?
Yeah, well, it's gone through a progression. At the end of the day, AirFlare is and always has been a set of tools to help search and rescue teams, ski patrol teams locate people who are lost and or in need of assistance. At the highest level, that's it. We started out through the Adam incident, started out with county and state-based search and rescue in mind. We started out with out-of-cell service technology. It was called a detector, and it was configured to locate a phone in or out of cell service, but predominantly out of cell service, locate the phone of a specific subject that was the subject of a search. Early on, working with a search and rescue community, it was challenging. You know, there's over 10,000 search and rescue teams across the nation. They are very loosely connected outside of like the Mountain Rescue Association and outside of very localized mutual aid. There's not a lot of information sharing about tools and techniques and what have you. So it was a very difficult community to really get engaged with. And we had a little bit of a chicken and egg problem as well. There is an app called AirFlare, sits on the adventurer side. It is and always has been optional, but specifically for our out-of-cell service technology, that AirFlare app and the download of an AirFlare app out in the adventurer community became increasingly important just by nature of the way that Google and Apple are developing their hardware and software. And so we wound up with this pretty big chicken and egg problem where it was really easy to get search and rescue teams excited, but then we had the download problem, and it was really easy to get the adventurer community excited, but there's 10,000 search and rescue teams across the country. We really quickly migrated into the ski resort community for very obvious reasons. Very localized geographic environment that they're operating in, built-in, generally paid search and rescue function, and a marketing engine, frankly. A very close connection. Resorts have a very close connection with their guest community, the skiers and snowboarders. And so we gravitated into the resort community pretty quickly and really shifted our attention, focused predominantly on our in-cell service technologies. And that is where we are today. Still have not lost sight of, and we do have a number of search and rescue teams out there who are using our technology, but our focus right now is predominantly the ski resort community and ski patrol teams.
It is an app, so if people want to access it, that's the route.
Yeah, it is a whole set of tools. There is an app that optionally sits on the adventurer side. Download of that app by the resort guest or the adventurer community does make our tool set incredibly more powerful. First and foremost, it pre-approves coordinates going back to any search and rescue team using our technology to locate you. So if you ever become the subject of an assistance call, whether you're hurt or simply need assistance out there for a broken ski or what have you, downloading the AirFlare app pre-approves those coordinates going back to you if you become the subject of a search. Super handy, obviously, if you're ever in a situation where you're incapacitated for whatever reason and can't respond to a notification that you're being searched for. The app opens up, there's a bunch of features in there like text 911. It'll tell you if the text 911 capability is available in the county that you're currently in. It'll pre-program a text message with your coordinates out to 911. It has a really cool location sharing feature. It's cross-platform. Miles, if you and I are skiing together today, all I need to do is we connect our phones. All I need to do is hit a button. It pre-approves your coordinates going back to me. So if I don't know if you're waiting down there for me at the bottom of the run or you're upside down in a tree well above me,
I like that.
Those coordinates come right back to me. I can either navigate right to you in that kind of an emergency, or I can share your location with Ski Patrol. So that's what the AirFlare app does. The vast majority of our usage, though, is assistance calls for guests, adventurers that do not have the app installed on their phone. And that is essentially a text out coordinates back mechanism. My name is Dennis. I'm skiing at, I need help. You're going to receive a text message from our Ski Patrol team. Go ahead and hit the button that puts coordinates. And so essentially what we're doing is we are providing exact coordinates to a search and rescue ski patrol team rather than having a dispatcher go through the typical, what lift did you ride? Did you go right or left? Are you on a black or blue? Do you know the name of your run?
I'm by this tree.
And people
it's kind of
swear.
like angle. It has an angle to it.
Every ski patroller out there has a story, or like dozens of
yeah.
stories about the person that swore that they were on the wolf run and they're on the bunny run, and that's a reload. In the very best case, we had a really interesting. I was literally onboarding one of our client resorts. I was sitting across the table from the ski patrol director and the risk manager and literally training them on our system, and I could hear the dispatcher kind of getting real animated on the phone, and it was one of their guests out of bounds, absolutely adamant that they knew where they were. And the ski patrol team was up at the top of the ridge where this guy, and they're saying, we see tracks down this canyon, but he's saying he's down in this canyon. There's no tracks down there. This guy was adamant. I've been skiing here for 30 years. I know exactly where I'm at. I swear to you, I'm on this canyon. So they brought me in, sent the text out, coordinates came back, and sure enough, the guy was in the other canyon. It was a tree strike. He had a broken jaw, this guy. And for that ski patrol team to go down into the other canyon where he said it was an entire half day. They had to ski all the way to town, come all the way back. So yeah, tons of those stories about. So we provide exact coordinates to search and rescue teams that are searching for someone in lost or in need of assistance.
Well, I love that this dual-pronged approach. So my first question is about if I can share this with my buddy. So here in Utah, we have service everywhere. The Wasatch is infinitesimally small and it's packed. So there's people and cell phones and helicopters and trucks and things everywhere. It doesn't exactly feel like a wilderness area to me. But what's great is you have a cell phone at all times. You have cell service at all times, what I'm trying to say. So I'm with my buddy. We went out of bounds at Alta into the side country, and my radio's not working. I just want to know where he is. Can I do that? Just check where he is whenever I want?
That's it. Yeah.
That sounds great, because maybe I can see that he's moving, he's okay.
Correct.
You know, all those kind of things. His coordinates are changing. Okay, that I really like, Dennis. It's because that is constantly happening. I ski with my buddy Greggy all the time, and we lose contact. Let's say we don't have our radios. One of the radios' battery dies, happens all the time. And I just want to know, where the hell is he?
Right.
Is he coming this way? Do I need to hike back up? Is he hurt? And this would
you
really
send him a
help with
text, and then you get a response 5 hours later. Dude, I just got your text.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that is the location.
Because even then, maybe
that is the location sharing feature inside of the AirFlare, the guest side, the adventurer side app. It essentially allows us.
And it has a map.
It does, yeah, and it has options.
It's a dot on a map.
It has options to navigate. So a single button push, you're navigating by Google Maps or Apple Maps. You can copy and paste your coordinates or open up Gaia or Aventa or Onyx directly from the app and navigate that way. That's all within the adventurer side. And then what we've done is we've kind of overlaid the search and rescue ski patrol tool set to do much the same thing. There's two big scenarios. My name is Julie. My partner Dennis is skiing at Alta today. We were supposed to check in. He failed to check in. Or it's self-initiated. My name is Dennis. I'm skiing at Alta today. I have a broken ski. I need assistance. And if I have the app on my phone, those are coordinates pre-approved. So especially if I'm lost or incapacitated, having the app on the phone is pretty powerful. You've pre-approved your coordinates going back to Alta Ski Patrol. The other way, if I don't have the app on the phone, is Dennis, you're going to receive a text message from Alta Ski Patrol. Just hit the link when you get that text message. And then we've got a bunch of other features in there, like subject chat was something that we did a while ago. I didn't think that it was actually going to be as popular and used, but what we found, especially for ski areas that have a lot of out-of-bounds access, a lot of people are just directionally challenged. They're not hurt, right? They're not cold, they're not starving. They just need assistance. And we have a number of ski areas now that, and a lot of stories about, we provide coordinates and we provide a location accuracy, and we're pretty much right on. So a dispatcher can remotely see, like, I see exactly where you are. If you ski downhill 200 yards, you're going to hit a cat track. Turn left when you hit the cat track, it'll bring you back to the base area. Can you do us a favor? Can you just respond to that text message that we sent you and let us know that you're out safe? And that's the result. A lot of times, Ski Patrol really doesn't need to go out for these assistance calls. Without that, without really knowing where the person was, Ski Patrol was out there every single time.
Information is power, which means that AirFlare is powerful. I really love the idea that I can see where my buddies are. I do a lot of side country skiing, so I think this would be really valuable. And then let's say something happens to Greggy, I could then even tell Ski Patrol, hey, here's his coordinates.
Yep.
I really like that. So how does it work then if I don't have the app on my phone, I end up lost or out of bounds or in trouble. How does that work? I would contact Ski Patrol and then they would send me a text and I would respond to that. And in that response, they would get my coordinates.
Yeah, generally those situations are, at the end of the day, it's not legal for us to pull coordinates off of the phone of someone without that permission. And so the app opens up the permission. The app is the pre-approval of those coordinates going back to a search and rescue team that's looking for you. Without the app on the phone, it's not legal for us to reach in and pull those coordinates back and share. So
I have to text back basically saying I consent to my coordinates.
Yeah, so those calls for people who do not have the app on their phone, those are generally either self-initiated or initiated by someone else. We do see AirFlare used quite a lot in calls that are initiated by someone else. My name is Dennis. My son Aiden, I haven't seen him for the last couple of hours. Ski Patrol will very often send that text message out with the coordinates link, but it does specifically say the name of the ski area is actively searching for you. When you receive this text message, please get in touch with us.
I like that. And so, and the idea being we need these ski resorts to have this platform. So lots of ski resorts, it sounds like in North America, have AirFlare. So when they text you, they're already fully dialed in.
Yeah.
When you respond to them, they're just going to have your coordinate on a map. They can go right to you. No BS. Done.
Yep. Exactly. And so,
I love
the vast majority of these teams, they are predominantly using AirFlare for that text out coordinates back feature because, on any given day, there's a percentage of the population out there that has the AirFlare app on their phone, but the majority don't. The partnerships that we have with Ski Patrol teams, they do onboard our tool set. They have our tool set, but Ski Patrol plays a pretty active role in guest education, introducing the AirFlare app out into the guest community. It just makes the tool set a lot more powerful on both sides, for both Ski Patrol and for the guest community. Parents able to just ping the location of their kid, and just the added security of knowing that if you ever do wind up hurt or upside down in a tree well, not able to respond to your phone, that you've pre-approved those coordinates going back to a search team.
And I just want to make it really black and white for our listeners because I've heard of, and I'm curious to hear more stories from you. Like you said, people think they know where they are. So without this technology of giving exact coordinates, people are saying, I am in No Name Canyon, but they're not actually there, like the story that you just told. Where this, you just text these people back and it has your exact pinpoint location on a map that these people could just go right to you. I love that because I know, like you said, people are texting back and forth with rescue services saying where they think they are, what their experience is, and those things are all to be interpreted one way or another. We got to take your word for it, but I love that this just gives you the exact location. Made me think of the idea. Have you heard of the story that recently, maybe it was years ago now, somebody was lost and search and rescue was calling them over and over and they kept declining their call
because they don't pick up the phone from an unknown number. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's
I'm lost, but I still have my morals.
Yeah, and I think one of the really exciting things for us, especially like where we first started with this focus on out-of-cell service and county and state-based search and rescue, it took a while for AirFlare to shake the perception that we are just a search and rescue tool just for lost people. It's been really exciting over the last few years that dispatchers predominantly, we just make their job so much easier, not having to ask those questions about what lift and what run and right or left or black or blue or what have you. And we do have a lot of stories about how we do fundamentally change the outcome of several searches or several assistance calls a year. And those stories are super meaningful and they're super impactful and we're super proud of them. But what we've seen in the last few years is AirFlare getting used more and more and more for just regular everyday assistance calls. And we have a resort in Colorado, an amazing client. In a single season, they used AirFlare 398 times in a single ski season. And what that means to me is that, I asked them specifically. And yeah, they said, like, this is so easy. It's just so much easier. It saves us time on the phone with the guest. It provides us an exact location of the guest. We can tell the guest, we can set expectations. We will be there in 5 minutes, and they are there in 5 minutes. It greatly improves. Greatly improves, because these are very often, these are stressful times. Someone's injured or someone's kid is injured or what have you. There's a lot of angst and anxiety and what have you. And just for the ability for a dispatcher to say, we see exactly where you are. This is the expectation. We will be there in 5 minutes. And even if it's just a broken ski or what have you, people want to get back to doing what, what they're there on the mountain to do, which is not sitting around waiting for ski patrol to get there. So yeah, we're super excited, and we really are. Like I said, we're super excited about those instances that we do get to fundamentally change the outcome of some of these assistance calls, but we're also super excited about just being used more and more for the everyday assistance calls that ski patrol teams go out, minor injuries or broken equipment or what have you.
And I really like it as just keeping track of my buddies, where my buddies are at on the mountain, because one of the things we like to do, especially in filming, is not as safety conscious as you could be. So let's say we're at the top of a large mountain, shoot face. We could ski down to a safe spot, meet up, ski down, safe spot. That doesn't film well, and it's not as fun.
Correct.
We like to try, that's why we have radios and as much technology as we can. We want to ski top to bottom. That makes it harder to obviously rescue if somebody does get hurt mid-run if you're the last person. But it films a lot better. But what I'm thinking of though is, let's say my friend is out of sight and they, like you said, they're having an equipment issue. So their binding is not working and their radio's not working. I'm starting to freak out.
Correct.
Am I gonna put my skins on, or am I gonna climb 4 hours back up to that spot? But if I had your app, I could just go to AirFlare, see that they're there. Oh, it looks like they're okay. They haven't fallen off the mountain. At least have some location information. That would be insanely valuable to me. Are there any limits? Is it unlimited? I could just keep checking that as much as I want.
Yeah,
Great.
Just location update, it's a click of a button. We don't
love that.
We don't use cache coordinates. There is a small delay every time you hit the button that is built in on purpose. These phones think they're pretty smart. They love to cough up coordinates that are cached. Essentially, every time you request a location, we tell the phone, start over again, collect brand new coordinates for us, and then send them on to the requester. Yep.
And even advancing this one step further. So let's say my buddy skis down first, he hits a tree and breaks his leg, or is unable to ski anymore. And it's pretty hard to find your buddies in the trees. Let's say we're on the west shore of Lake Tahoe. There's lots of tracks. Which track is his? Where is he exactly? He's on the radio. We have comms, but I can't find him. This would be invaluable.
Yeah.
That kind of thing happens all the time with us in the trees. It's like, all right, well, I skied over here to the left, and now I'm doing this thing. It's like, where on the left, dude? I'm by this tree. It's like bent over and has like a dead branch. Like, come on, man.
And we know here too in the Pacific Northwest, we live in tree well country here.
Yes.
So yeah, trees are they're pretty scary in this part of the country. Yeah.
Well, they get thick, they get dense really quick too. It's just hard to find people in them. But we mentioned stories, and that's my next question. Could you share some stories where this technology helped people out? I'd love to hear what you've heard.
Oh man. Yeah, really some of the most meaningful stories are the stories that do fundamentally change the outcome of assistance calls. We had a 72-year-old male, one of our client resorts in California, was out of bounds, called up ski patrol in distress, wound up being cardiac arrest. AirFlare was able to return coordinates. Ski patrol got to this gentleman, non-responsive, and CPR brought him back. But the fact that we were able to, I did get a call from the patrol director, and it was very, very clear this was going to be a search. It was going to be an extensive search for this gentleman, and we were able to provide those coordinates. Had another one, someone called up, very, 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 very lost with 3% battery left, was able to contact ski patrol. Everything worked. Coordinates came back from ski patrol with an exact location of this guest who also was out of bounds. And that person was very unprepared to be out there for any extended period of time. That was very, very impactful. The phone died immediately upon hang up. So had two there in Idaho. People ski past the resort all the time. There's mountains that are notorious for the ability to see past the resort. We had one was a family skiing together. One of the members of that family passed right by the resort very close to closing time, like 15 minutes before closing time, starting to get dark. Huge storm, and AVI danger in the terrain surrounding the resort was absolutely through the roof. So they were in the resort and had skied past the resort boundary. And that was another one that I got a call from the general manager saying in no uncertain terms definitively that AirFlare made an absolute enormous difference in that assistance call, both for the guest, but also for the ski patroller who went out there and still took him 2.5 hours, but knew exactly where that person was and was able to navigate all of that high AVI terrain to get right to that person in the safest manner possible, because a search in those conditions would have been catastrophically dangerous, I think, for the patrol team out there. So yeah, just a number of stories like that. But the other stories that I really appreciate quite a lot are just those stories that we were able to make life and job easier for ski patrollers. And we have countless stories about those as well. I was sitting at one of our big clients in Powder Mountain. I was sitting there with Mike Otto and Michelle Mulder, the patrol director and the assistant patrol. I was working with Michelle in the office, and Mike was on the phone. And if you're familiar with Powder at all, it's huge. Huge open expanses. And when people call in and say, I'm in this area, the time that it takes to actually search that area is pretty enormous. And Powder uses us constantly. But Mike said, again, it was the end of the day, and this call came in about someone that needed assistance and needed a patroller out there. Mike said, yeah, that was another AirFlare assistance call. Thank you very, very much. If it wasn't for those coordinates, we would have been out there for a long time. So yeah, those stories too, about just being able to efficiently connect patrollers out to guests that need assistance. I think it greatly improves the experience for the guest community. It greatly improves the experience for the patrollers who are out there working every day.
It sounds like a must-have for ski patrol in North America. How has adoption been by ski patrols in North America, and how old is AirFlare?
Yeah, I would say that we officially launched AirFlare out into the ski community the same time COVID was launched. Good timing. That was kind of a bummer. Became pretty clear that patrol teams did not want to spend a lot of time talking about new search technology investment. It was really a cool time within the resort community. Ski areas in the United States have historically been a little bit slow to adopt technology, and COVID ushered in this era where you started seeing parking and social distancing and online ticket sales. So you saw kind of an explosion of technology investment. A lot of this comes from the insurance companies and the ASDA, American Ski Defense Attorneys, really encouraging ski areas to improve their documentation of incidents. So the COVID era really just brought in this big wave of interest and adoption of technology generally into a community that had been historically slow to adopt. And with that, I think we're starting to see quite a lot of adoption within the patrol teams. We have just north of 40 ski areas in the US using AirFlare.
40, wow, that's huge. That's fantastic, man. And yeah, because it seems like this message needs to get out there. I can't imagine. I have quite a few friends who do ski patrol, and most of them have been doing it for a long time now because I'm getting old and so are they. And I can't imagine a single one of them saying, oh, I don't want this. I picture them all saying, tell me how this works exactly again. That sounds amazing. If somebody could just text us back, tell us exactly where they are, we could just go get them. It saves so much time. You know, a lot of the places that I ski, like you're talking about, like Powder Mountain, for example, they're just huge ski resorts. Yeah. And so having these patrollers be able to just pinpoint where they are would be huge. How does this tech work? Did it seem impossible at the beginning when you were starting this up? Or is it just obvious that to you maybe it's obvious smartphones can do more with your double master brain?
Well, I'm not a developer. I've been in and around, I've worked in and around technology for quite a large portion of my life, but Elliot, founder, I'm one of the co-founders, and Kevin, three of us have been really the core team of AirFlare. Elliot and Kevin are predominantly the engineers and really the engineering
I like
brains.
Kelly, it just saves you time.
The brains behind the ins and outs. Before I go there and answer that question, I do want to highlight, though, yes, we have a number of really, really large, expansive ski areas with huge patrol teams that are using us quite a lot. But some of our biggest cheerleaders are very, very small resorts as well. There's a client of ours in Vermont, Magic Mountain. If you ever have the chance to visit Magic Mountain, such cool terrain, really, really cool team. It just has this vibe when you walk into Magic Mountain. You're just like, yeah, this is awesome. Just a really family, but they're tiny, and people, the patrol director, Andy Belcher, people ask him all the time. I mean, I'm sitting right there because I see Andy at conferences and what have you, and Andy's talking to me, and someone will come up and, Andy, you're using AirFlare? You guys are tiny. And he goes, yeah, we're using it because we are tiny. If my phone rings once, right, and we're half staff. If my phone rings twice, we have no one sitting there at dispatch. I can't afford not to know exactly where. I don't have time to go out and do these searches. So really super exciting to be working with a lot of the smaller ski areas that they just don't have the staff. We just make it so much more efficient.
That makes a lot of sense. Less resources. This is going to be even more valuable because you're going to use a lot less resources, be able to utilize your lower amount of resources to find guests more quickly.
Yep. So remind me the question. Was it super obvious?
The tech side of it, I don't know how much you can share. But did the tech side seem impossible? How does it work? I think to you it just seemed like, it makes sense, right? Everybody's got a smartphone. Not everybody has a location device. Not everybody has a radio. Not everybody has some sort of GPS device, but everybody has a smartphone.
Yeah, conceptually, it's super simple, right? Everyone's got a cell phone. We should just be able to notify the cell phone, and the cell phone should be able to pop coordinates back. Conceptual, like, this makes a ton of sense and should be super easy. It falls apart pretty quickly when you get into the inner workings of these devices, and rightly so. Privacy and security should be of paramount importance, and the reality of dancing around the security measures put in place makes the tech actually pretty complicated for us, not for the user, for us to make all of this work. The event, the notification that hits a phone, that wakes up the AirFlare app, that pops coordinates back, the ability to, Kevin and Elliot have really, in a lot of cases, just really were able to pull a rabbit out of the hat and make all of this work within what's allowable from these devices, but really with this constant focus on AirFlare. Some of the guiding principles, just for what it's worth, when we launched into this, no user action requirement was really important. Going back to the Adam incident, he had a PLB in his backpack. We wanted to figure out a mechanism by which we could pre-approve those coordinates going back, and that wound up being quite a lot of technical challenges to make that work. We have held a very, very firm line. We do not cache coordinates. We do not collect location data. We do not sell data in any way, shape, or form. We don't collect data that really has any marketable value, and we do that for a reason. We are absolutely 100% a set of tools that help get you assistance when you are lost or in need of assistance. And we just have absolutely no interest whatsoever in violating that trust, for lack of a better way of saying it. And then with that decision that we're not collecting data, we're also not chewing your battery apart, which is incredibly important.
Tell me more.
Yeah,
that's huge.
So AirFlare is passive. It's entirely passive. It really, at the end of the day, one of the safest apps that you can put on your phone. You download it, it just sits there passively. You actually never even have to open it again, and that was really super important. I know myself, I'm not going to open an app every time I leave the house. So once you download the AirFlare app, unless you're using it for location sharing to locate friends and family or what have you, it literally does just sit there passively in the background. And that notification then, if you ever do become the subject of a search, there is my name is Robin. Dennis is visiting Powder Mountain today. He was supposed to check in at 2. He failed to check in. What happens on the ski patrol or search and rescue side is there is a registry essentially of all of the AirFlare subscribers. What is Dennis's phone number? And that unique identifier, my phone number, will tell Powder Mountain Ski Patrol whether or not I have AirFlare on my phone. And if I do have AirFlare on my phone, it's a single button push on their end. A notification hits my phone. It wakes up the AirFlare app, even if it's not open and running. And it tells the AirFlare app, go get coordinates of your exact location right now, send them back to Powder Mountain Ski Patrol.
Wow.
So that is the feature for those individuals who do have the app on their device. And like I said, for those who do not have the app, that's just a text out coordinates back. It's a link that comes in a text message that says Powder Mountain Ski Patrol is actively searching for you. Hit this link. It pops open a page, send coordinate. Those coordinates go back to you.
I really like the idea of having the app on the phone so that you wouldn't even have to have any interaction essentially with the ski patrollers. They could just ping your phone, find out where you are. That's kind of incredible. I like that the most so far. I like the idea. And how much is the app? I've forgotten.
We have a bunch of different plans. The easiest is just a subscription. It's $4.99 a year. You can buy it. Okay. You can buy it for life for $15. We have family plans. Essentially, if you wind up buying 10-pack and you can divvy it up to your friends and family, I think it winds up being you can buy 10 for the price of 5 or something like that. So there's a number of different options out there.
Well, I like that. With the holidays coming up, it seems like I would buy a couple for the people that I ski for and just say, hey, just put this on your phone. I buy it for my wife. I was like, just put this on your phone and don't think about it again.
Absolutely.
It's like give it the permissions it needs. Let's set it up right.
And we are pretty new, and we are trying to figure out. First big hurdle with respect to ski patrol teams is we're fundamentally changing the way that they operate. So it's a new technology, it's a new set of protocols that they need to incorporate. That was a big hurdle. And I think we're kind of crossed that hurdle, and we're now into, I'm really super excited about the year, and we're still trying to figure out that model then on the guest side, and really starting to develop models whereby, and I think this is going to be absolutely mandatory when we launch back into county and state-based search and rescue, where there's laws against a team working up underneath a public entity like a sheriff or a state police. They really can't be out there promoting a paid-for third-party app. So we're starting this year to develop models where if you're a ski area and you want to provide the AirFlare app out into your guest community as just a guest benefit, we're starting to develop those models this year. One of the really nice things about AirFlare is it's not specific to any ski patrol team. I can learn about AirFlare in Jay Peak in Vermont, and I can come and ski at Keystone. AirFlare is AirFlare is AirFlare. When you download the AirFlare app, you're entered into this registry. So any search and rescue team or any ski patrol team using our tool set can identify, yes, you have the AirFlare app on your phone, and that mechanism, notification, coordinates coming back automatically works no matter where you are.
And how much time and energy does it take a ski patrol team to train on this and get all dialed in on this?
Oh, we're quick. We're super fast. One of the things that I've noticed within ski patrol teams is the role of dispatch is more and more becoming a dedicated role played by
instead of just rotating ski patrollers.
Yeah, when I first was introduced to the industry, pretty much across the board, a lot of the resorts that I visited, the person sitting at the dispatch desk was the person that just blew their ACL out, right? And they, and they wound up.
I know that.
And if they didn't have that person, they just rotated through their entire patrol team. Things are changing in the industry pretty dramatically in that space, and we're seeing more and more teams that have this dedicated dispatch role, which really cuts down on the training requirement pretty significantly. It's a very, very easy tool set. I pride myself generally in the ability to onboard a dispatcher in 10 to 15 minutes. Really just to show them.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to get a real number.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah, so initial onboarding,
compared to the other things they're training,
like initial onboarding to bring a ski area on, and I strongly encourage, if you're a patrol team and you're interested in our technology, bring us in for a season, push buttons, make sure you know how it works in your environment, you know where the cell areas are, you know where some of the dead spots are, make sure it works within your environment, figure out how to incorporate it within your operations. It takes about an hour to get through initial onboarding, but then anyone coming on board after that, it's a pretty easy training. And that's dispatch. And that's half the battle, is getting coordinates into dispatch. The other half of the battle is getting those coordinates out into the field. And this is a group of people who have historically gone out by, they're over by the pump house, or they're underneath the Wolf Run right around Tower 6, or they're in the back country kind of around this feature. And that's historically how ski patrol teams have operated, just landmarks.
They have super detailed maps. I've seen them. They overname everything.
And they have, and they're just navigating by landmarks. And so what we're doing now is we're dropping actual GPS coordinate into these patrol teams. And a lot of them are search and rescue, and a lot of them are climbers, and a lot of them really
So
know.
if I'm one of the patrollers in the field, they want to relay these coordinates to me from dispatch, how am I receiving them?
Yes, there's a couple different mechanisms. The easiest is there's another app, not the guest side app, but there's another app that sits on the patrol side. It's called Field Console. For your patrol team, it can be read-only. If there's a subset of your patrollers that you don't want to be running searches, right, that you can give them read-only access, or if, the supervisors or what have you, Field Console enables searches to be conducted from a chairlift or from home after hours or what have you. All of this is connected. So any function, any search that's initiated from web console on the dispatch computer, those results are going to be broadcast across the entire patrol team through Field Console, the app on their phone, and vice versa. Any search that's done from a chairlift by a patroller using Field Console, the dispatcher is going to be able to see it, and the entire patrol team. That app, it'll tell you, here's your subject, this is the location of the subject, and here is the location accuracy. It's plus or minus 10 meters, which means your subject is in this circle, essentially, within the...
And they get a dot on a map.
Yeah, but then they also get
on
buttons. How do you want to navigate to this person? So with a click of a button,
That's great.
They're navigating by Google Maps, by Apple Maps, and they have the ability to open up Gaia, Avenza, or Onyx, or the ability to copy coordinates and paste. That's usually the best mechanism, is just one button push, copy coordinates, paste into Gaia, and now you're off navigating.
I love that.
So that's one mechanism. The other mechanism, it's pretty slick. It's super cool. The dispatcher, and you can do this from web console or you can do it from Field Console, but generally it's dispatch running your searches. The dispatcher can enter the patroller that they want to go out to assist. They just enter that patroller's number into a field. And this can be pre-programmed. So it's like, I want Charles to go out there. And Charles is going to get a text message. It's a hyperlink. We provide Charles one text message that just has the coordinates. They can copy and paste into Gaia, Events, or Onyx, or Google Maps. The other text message that comes simultaneously is a link, and that opens up a page, and it asks them, how do you want to navigate to this person? And they have the ability, Google Maps, Apple Maps, Gaia, Avenza, Onyx, whatever, however they... And so some patrollers don't want an app on their phone, right? So the other mechanism, a text out to Charles, because Charles doesn't want an app, is the mechanism to get those coordinates out there and get Charles navigating.
I really like that because that's so intuitive for all of us. We're also used to looking at a dot on a phone, on a map. I love that idea that you can just, boom, you use the map that you want to use. I'd probably use Gaia, and you just, boom, you've got it. You're rolling. You're going towards that person. It's pretty simple. And especially if you're a patroller, you know that terrain. You know what lift you need to take to get there. You know what route to take. I really like that. That's spectacular. And I'm just thinking about how you said, I think you said it was 398 calls or 398 times that a Colorado ski resort used AirFlare to assist its guests in one season. And I'm just doing math in my head. So that there's something like 480 ski resorts in the US. So if they all use this, and let's just take it way down. Let's say that resort used it 400 times. Let's say on average, these places are going to use it 100 times. That's 48,000 times that AirFlare would be used in the US in 1 year. And that's a lowball number. So it just seems like this makes so much sense to get this in the hands. This technology seems like a no-brainer for ski patrols. What I'm curious about is, when you go approach ski patrols, do they get it? Is this something that they get really quickly? Does it take some education?
Yeah, like I said, I think the big hurdle that I've had to figure out how to get across is shedding that perception that we're just a search technology for lost subjects, or the really hairy searches that expired all of the traditional mechanisms to, and really just engaging really helps to have this dedicated dispatch, because like once a dispatcher is sitting at that desk and they start using AirFlare, it just becomes pretty automatic for them. And this particular ski area that used this so much last season, that is very much a very, very professional role. They are dispatchers. That is all they do at the ski area. So, I think that was the big hurdle for us. I very much believe in this as well. This is a group of people who choose to work outside.
A lot. I don't think I could be a ski patroller. I don't think people understand that they're on the hill like on avalanche days from like 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. in your ski boots outside all day.
There is a little bit of that. We are introducing a technology on top of very, very traditional procedures and norms that have been developed over decades. So it is a shift in the way that they process assistance calls. And so I think that it's a pretty typical change management exercise. Our strategy has really just been delivering on what we say we do, being very open and honest and transparent about when things go wrong, but generally absolutely delivering on what we say we're going to deliver on, showing up year after year after year. I think with this particular industry, really just building that trust that we're in it for the long run has been incredibly important. And just showing up year after year after year and performing has been pretty important and pretty instrumental in kind of turning the corner and getting some of the adoption that we have over the last couple of seasons, for sure. And
as far as adoption goes, I like also what you're saying about it's not just for lost people. I was just thinking about for injuries would be great too, because especially in dense trees or where you can't maybe see the people could say, hey, I have an injury at this location. Ski patroller Joe, I need you to go to this location. I just sent it to you. Go. That seems like much more efficient than going through, hey, it's by Johnny's Rock, on the left side by the creek, but then you got to cut back, whatever.
It really is.
Explaining it, so much can go wrong in the telephone system. As every time it gets repeated, a couple of details get lost. Or you could just say, go to this coordinate. This is where the person is. Boom. That makes a ton of sense to me. It seems like they'd be excited about it, and it seems like an easy sell reaching out to all these ski resorts. So I'm excited to see this get implemented in more places.
It's an efficiency both ways, right? Because
a
lot of these incidents, they're not day stoppers, right? A lot of them are got the wind knocked out of you or broken equipment or, whatever the case may be. It's efficient for the ski patrol, but it's also super efficient for the guest. And for those incidents that are injury related and stressful, it's just peace of mind. The ability for a dispatcher to say, we'll be there in 5 minutes, and they deliver on that. But, if you think about the person that went out of bounds and just got themselves turned around, if it's just as simple as we see exactly where you are, ski downhill 200 yards and turn left when you hit the cat track, that's like super efficient. That person really wants to get back on a lift and continue with the rest of their day, right? And if you think about the time involved, having to sit there and wait in the same location for ski patrol to come out, find you, get you, and bring you back to the resort. Yeah, so there's really efficiencies and peace of mind, I think, in both directions.
The allocation of resources, the loss of resources during that time when it's not actually something important, when you might have a worse injury or something that really does need ski patrol attention. My understanding after looking at the NSAA numbers is that a skier visit is one human being skiing or snowboarding for one day at a ski resort. And so I think the numbers are something like 1 in 1,000 skier visits result in injury.
That is correct.
But I know that the incidence of calling ski patrol is a hell of a lot higher than that.
It is.
What you're getting at. So it would really save ski patrol time and energy and make the guests safer by not allocating so many resources to these calls that may not actually need a whole lot of resources or attention. Can just communicate with people and know exactly where they are, efficiently extract them, efficiently get to them, efficiently communicate with them, and solve the problem really quickly, where then we can focus more on that 1 in 1,000 actual injury, where we really need to put some resources and some ski patrollers in that place and make sure that that guest is getting the best possible experience despite being injured. And so that just seems incredibly powerful, because I didn't even think about that. It's not just lost people. It's not just injured people. It's all these people who are very minor things going on. Yeah, it's just like they're like, my ski came off. It's 100 feet above me. I can't get to it. Whatever. 911 are probably these days, they're just getting call after call after call. That is not an emergency. That probably doesn't need ski patrol at all. So I bet this was really going to help with that too. And that's only going up as we all have cell phones and all this immediate communication. So before we really think far enough into it, we've already communicated and asked the question and begged for help.
Yeah.
So I really like that. But I like that your transition from engineering, academia into this outdoor, I guess we could say, safety space. What surprised you most about building a company in this outdoor space?
This is my community. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I started where I did, my life story, just being really connected to the outdoors. And I took that tour through kind of the corporate environment, really hung on tight to my passion for the outdoors by climbing and becoming a guide. And then launching out of the corporate environment into this, I feel just really fortunate to spend my days around people who make a conscious decision to be in our outdoor environments. I mean, these places are, they're super special to me, and super fortunate. The hardest thing, the time. I spent my career in corporate and in the corporate environment, really in organizational change management. Like everything I did around strategy and process and organizational design involved a lot of change management. And I think really one of the ski community is very closely knit. They're very, very tight. Everyone knows each other. Everyone knows each other. And this is a compliment. It really is. They are very, very protective of what they've built. And they should be. And so outsider coming into this environment, it was very challenging. And like I said, it was really just a matter of building that trust that we are who we say we are, that we do what we say we're going to do, and we show up year after year after year. There's no shortcutting here, right? I don't know how to shortcut this. I think really it just is a process of building that trust and delivering. But frankly, that has been the hardest aspect of this, because sitting from my vantage point and echoing back everything that you said to me, this is kind of a no-brainer. It just seems like everyone should adopt this. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way, because every patrol director and every patrol team, they have their own change management effort and one of the things that I actually really appreciate about this industry, especially in patrol teams, you don't really see a lot of top-down decision making. You see a lot of like organic acceptance and adoption, and that, frankly, it just takes time. And back to what I was saying, this is a group of people who make conscious decisions to work outside, and what that means is they are making conscious decisions to be outside and not sitting in front of a computer every day and not being inundated with technology every day. And this is a group of people who are absolute professionals. They've been developing protocols and knowledge of their terrain, and they have developed these protocols to go out and find people over decades and decades and decades, and they do it very, very well. And so dropping this technology then on top of all of that, yes, you should expect this to take just a little bit of time to really make that to make that impact.
No, I think you're right. I think that so many people in this industry, including you and I, we're just so autonomous, and we've just put a lot of time and energy out here. So it's kind of game respects game, right? Coming in with your angle as a guide and an outdoors person, that authenticity is huge. And these people are all is a bold statement. These people are pretty much all type A, right? And so that makes it tough, right? Autonomous type A people who only respect true authenticity, I guess all of the A's. And so, so that's an interesting group to get to convert, essentially, right? To show them that, hey, the implementation of this is going to make your job, your life better. But what I do think they are quick to adopt useful technologies. And so I think that's why AirFlare is going to make its way into a lot more ski resorts. It just makes so much sense. And I think once people actually once these type A people get their hands on it, they're going to understand that it's going to save them time and energy. And that's what they are. That's, if you boil down what ski patrollers, what rescuers are, it's time and energy. And the faster this can happen with the lowest amount of energy, that is the most powerful service that they can offer, and that's what they're trying to do. And I know, and that's what they want to do.
And that's a story that we just need to get better and better at telling. At the end of the day, that is the story. It's fundamentally changing the outcome of some searches, but every single day. It's making your team more efficient, more professional, and providing a better guest experience.
I mean, absolutely. The elevator pitch is something like that, right? Is the quick 2-line version is like, this is what we're doing. And that, I think, will get those type A's, their head spinning like, ooh, I like saving time and energy. Let's do this. And so what's the future of AirFlare? Just in my mind thinking, now with my cell phone, I can, maybe not my cell phone, but with some new cell phones, I know with the new iPhones, with some of the new Pixel phones, you can talk directly to a satellite. It even helps you. My buddy did it with me. It helps you kind of line it up and send a message. You can just send a friendly message with some phones, just, hey, how you doing, via satellite. So this is in a position where you don't even have communication. And you can also obviously send a rescue or an emergency system. And I don't know if that has anything to do with where you guys are going, but I am so curious. What's the future of AirFlare looking 5 years out? How do you see this company operating in North America and beyond?
What's happening up above us it's really interesting. And I think it's going to be very, very impactful for the search and rescue community generally and for AirFlare specifically. So we did start in county and state-based search and rescue, and we did start with our out-of-cell service technology in mind. And one of the big factors in my decision-making in how to talk about AirFlare within ski areas has been this knowledge and understanding that we are getting very, very, very close to satellite connectivity. As you've seen, text over satellite is up and running. Apple's got their own. If you've got an iPhone 15 or 16, I believe, can be entirely out of cell service and be able to connect with a satellite and send a text message to 911 or text to your family or what have you. What we're seeing and what I'm waiting for and what's really needed to make AirFlare wholly functional is voice, data, text, all three, over satellite, and we're very, very close. T-Mobile, working with Starlink, just released data over satellite in the last couple of months. So specific apps that are configured to be able to communicate with satellites, that is up and running on the T-Mobile platform now. Both Verizon and AT&T have their own program. They're both contracted, I think, with AST Space Mobile, if I'm not mistaken, and their timeline is very similar. Through 2026, we're going to see quite a lot of activity in this space.
Wow.
And so,
so in 5 years from now, it might be full on.
From what we're kind of understanding, I'm hoping for a reduced timeline, because really, we really do. I think text data is great for us. It allows a text message to go out. It allows those coordinates to come back. It allows a notification to hit a phone, wake up the AirFlare app, and the coordinates back. We really need voice, because voice is really predominantly the way that assistance calls are relayed to ski patrol. That every organization has an emergency number, call up ski patrol, and that's the initiation. So that voice component is pretty necessary. So as we saw voice, data, text over satellite becoming more and more of a thing that is going to happen, that detector technology kind of faded into the background, carrying an actual physical device out into the field, either in a SAR team member's backpack or up in the air on a drone. That's kind of where we started. But just the complexity of making that work and the training hurdle for some of these teams is pretty big. Like our in-cell service technology, super simple, really easy. Once you know it, you can't really forget it. The detector technology, just because of all of the hoops and hurdles that we needed to go through to make that technology work with cell phones out in the environment, seeing voice, data, text over satellite, we really did kind of put the brakes on that out of cell service technology, waiting for connectivity via satellite to really become a thing. So a lot of words to say where I see AirFlare going over the next several years. A lot of these ski areas, as you well know, in the Western United States operate on public lands. A lot of these public lands have very, very spotty cell service. It's really fascinating. Some of the stories that actually I've already relayed, I thought in no way is this ski area going to bring us on because their cell service is so poor. But we do optimize everything that we do for low cell service environments. And that's the reason why we encourage ski areas to bring us in and push buttons within their own operations, even if they have spotty cell service. Because if you think about it, those calls are generally initiated from cell service. So that's a segment of that population that AirFlare can be useful for. But the promise of voice data text over satellite, to put it very bluntly, is that we are moving into a situation where the promise is there is no such thing as out of cell service.
And that's a beautiful thing. And I think you're right. It looks like the direction that this satellite stuff is going is so accelerated. You know, when I'm in Patagonia and a lot of other places, we're using exclusively Starlink internet, and it is useful. It works really well. It's fast, and the dish is so small. And the idea now is basically, can you get the dish small enough to essentially fit in your phone?
Correct.
And I think the answer is going to be yes quite soon.
It seems like we're moving. And so if you think about, like, especially in the Western United States, we do have a pipeline, honestly, of ski areas that are like, oh my gosh, we're really, really excited about this, but our environment with our cell service situation, it really isn't conducive for this right now. And so I think AirFlare becomes a lot more powerful than it already is in some of these areas like Idaho and some of the other areas of Utah where cell service really isn't as up in the Cascades, where cell service isn't a thing. But it brings us back to where we started, and really a tool set that is a lot more valuable for county and state based search and rescue teams. You are never going to find a bigger cheerleader for satellite emergency notification devices or personal locator beacons. I am a guide. Obviously, I have a send device anytime I'm out in the mountains with clients. But, you know, I very, very often choose to not bring devices out with me on private objectives. But I'll tell you what, I always have this in my pocket. Always have this in my pocket. So I think for county and state-based search and rescue teams, the ability to initiate an assistance call from out of cell service, the ability to get coordinates back to search and rescue teams, which have, like, this isn't cell phone triangulation. This is not 911 using cell phone towers to triangulate the location of the subject. We are telling the phone, we want you to get coordinates, send it back. Therefore, we get coordinates with a very, very precise location accuracy. So I think that really coming back into county and state-based search and rescue with a more powerful tool set that works in the environments that a lot of these teams are operating in, which don't have cell services, is pretty powerful. There's another demographic, there's another space that I'm really very, very passionate about one day, hopefully being able to get to, and that's the Alzheimer's, dementia, autism space. I think that we can I think we can be incredibly impactful there. Right now, we're a very, very small team. We're entirely self-funded. We don't have huge budget or anything else. We've got to really focus on the ski industry and really build this brand and build this reputation within the ski community. But I think with the promise of connectivity via satellite becoming more and more of a real thing, I think it does open the door for AirFlare to be more powerful for a general adventurer community and some other specialized communities like autism, Alzheimer's, and dementia.
Makes a lot of sense. And I just keeps coming back to the idea for me, which I think is very exciting, is we all have these phones, these devices in our pockets. I mean, basically 100% of the people have these devices with them 100% of the time. Yep. Let's advocate and let's make these into more powerful safety devices. And you guys are doing that, and I love that.
It's 93, last I looked, I think this is 2023 data, but in the United States, it's 93% have a smartphone in their pocket. Wow. And when you get up to incomes above 100,000, it's 98%, and that's a large portion of your ski population. So yes, the vast majority of people have a smartphone in their pocket.
Everybody I know. And so, yeah, even if it is that lower number of 93%, that's a worthy number, that there's far more people are going to have that device in their pocket than an actual safety device. Correct. Like a satellite communication device or a sat phone or something more complicated and bulky and heavier. So the idea that everybody's going to have this in their pocket at all times, a cell phone, let's turn it into an incredible, powerful useful, reliable safety device. Makes a lot of sense.
It's passive. It's not chewing your battery apart. And we're not spying on you. that was the entire idea. We're not selling your data.
Those things don't
super
hurt
important
either.
to us.
Absolutely, man. It seems, again, like a no-brainer. I really like this idea. Well, Dennis, that's all I've got for you here at the end of the show. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, if you want to find out more information about us, the website's super simple. It's AirFlare, AirFlare, airflare.com. If you're a ski area and are interested in checking our technology, you can find me, my email address through our website. Happy to provide you with a tool set. Bring us in, no obligation, punch some buttons in your operations and check us out and see how we work.
Airflare.com. Go check it out. See what these folks are up to. Making us safer in the mountains. Can't complain.
Thanks so much, Miles. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to the SnowBrains podcast. If you liked this podcast, please share with friends and family, and please be sure to subscribe. To find out more about SnowBrains, please visit us at snowbrains.com. You can also find us on Instagram, X, Facebook, and more. This episode of the SnowBrains podcast was edited by Liam Abbott, and I'm your host, Miles Clark.